we tend to confuse resistance with a signal to stop, to check out, to escape. But the resistance isn't a stop sign, it's an opportunity. You're listening to Say It Anyway, the podcast for people who know they're meant for more and are done holding back. I'm Maggie Marcus, and here we talk courage, self-trust, and what it takes to lead yourself, even when it scares the hell out of you. Okay, I have a confession to make. I was sitting on my couch this morning. I've got these 3 big bay windows. It's beautiful, lots of natural sunlight coming through. There's a park across the street, and it's just like a beautiful day. People are running around, dogs are chasing each other, and I'm thinking, I genuinely do not want to do any of my to-do list today. Like, I want to ride my bike and if I can be really honest with you guys, like, I was like, I want to smoke weed, ride my bike, and like just escape. Like, I'm kind of in I'm in my luteal phase, and I'm just like, I don't feel like it. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to film my podcast episode. I don't want to think about it. So I'm going to talk about that today. Like that feeling when you sit down and you're going to do the thing. You've got the plan. You've got the to-do list. And just nothing is coming up, though. Like, there feels like no motivation, no inspiration. You're staring at a blank page or a camera or at your list, and everything in you just resists. Like, you feel a little hopeless. Like, you just don't want to do it. You don't feel like it. You're a little negative, a little like, what's the point? A little like, maybe I'll do it tomorrow when I actually feel inspired. And, does anyone really care? Like, why am I putting in the effort? Like, does this really matter? Like, why am I doing this? And the easier option is right there. Like, just don't. Nobody's making you. You don't have to do anything, right? You could close your laptop. You could go outside. You could literally do anything else. And here's the thing that kind of stings a little bit. This wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the first time you did it. You've started things before. You've lost momentum before. Right when things maybe started to matter or maybe started to gain some momentum or blow up, something in you pulled back. Maybe you're tired of that pattern. Like, you are tired of feeling like everyone else has their shit figured out and everybody else has this consistency thing figured out, and you're over here still negotiating with yourself to just begin. Here's what I actually think is happening. I don't think you're lazy. I don't think you're not cut out for this. I think it's something else. Your resistance is there, and it is creating a really amazing opportunity. And that's what I want to talk about. Because, oh, shit, do I get it. Yeah, I get it. Because when I was sitting there this morning on the couch, just like beautiful day, and I'm thinking, I need to start filming ASAP. Like, and I'm like, I don't know, what am I talk about today? What, like, nothing. I feel like I don't really have, I feel empty. Like, I feel empty. Nothing's clicking. I feel like I haven't had any like great ahas maybe lately. Just like not really any motivation, in the luteal, feeling depleted, and just having this urge to escape, just get some greens, but not the healthy kinds, and just like disappear for the day. Underneath, I think that escape fantasy was the real fear. The real fear is not that I'm tired. And here's the thing, like, I also want to say this, like, I could do that. And not that I could, like, literally no one is there to check on me. If you saw my previous, episodes, like, I got fired. I don't have a job right now. So I really could do all of that and not get any major immediate blowback. But I've come to recognize these feelings and these patterns because I know I'm not really tired and I'm not really, it's not just really about the fact that I don't feel like it. There's the real fear that I am trying so hard and working to create something for myself. And the deeper fear is that it won't be enough. And the deeper fear is that nobody really cares. That I'll put my all into this and it won't land. Like, it won't really matter. That it won't be as impactful as I hope, that I won't be as good at this as I want to be. And that's a very real fear that I'll have to reconcile with the fact that what I really want to create and do with my life won't really be that significant in the greater scheme of things. And it's really hard to create and feel inspired and motivated when you're contending with those kinds of feelings. But I'm sitting there and I'm looking out the window and then this image popped into my mind and something started to shift. And I saw her. Like, I saw me on a stage, mic in my hand, mid-expression. I'm saying something enthusiastically and passionately. I've got a very expressive face. I'm saying something that matters. And something in my heart, in my chest sort of swelled. And even as I say that, now my eyes tear up because I see her. And this sort of like excitement and pride kind of come up in me. And maybe a little bit of fear. But I see her. And it stirs something in me. And that image, I felt, started to loosen the grip of resistance. Not entirely, but just enough. Because that woman doesn't wait to feel like it. She doesn't wait to feel like it. She decided. And I often think back, and I think from the perspective of that woman looking back at me now and what she would say to me or just what decisions she would make. And I think we think these harder days, these more emotionally challenging days are about motivation and willpower and just muscling through. Like, either you have it or you don't. You have the inspiration or in the motivation or you don't. We tend to confuse resistance with a signal to stop, to check out, to escape. But the resistance isn't a stop sign. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to choose. Because you can either be overpowered by it or you can be empowered by it. Awareness creates conscious choice. And when you become aware of that resistance and you recognize it and you see the crossroads, you have a choice to make. You can either give in and be overpowered by it and then start to cultivate and strengthen the belief that, you give up, that you're not good enough, or you can be empowered by it. You can choose to do the thing anyway, to sit with the discomfort, to move forward and cultivate the identity of someone who has their back, who is in integrity, who does what they say they're going to do, despite how they might be feeling. And you build confidence and trust in yourself in that way. See, here's the tricky part. Resistance feels so identical to like genuine tiredness. It's so easy to get these two intertwined. Like it feels like that in your body. There's tension, there is tightness, there are negative thoughts kind of creeping in, and this urge to push it away and deal with it later. But they're not the same thing. Like resistance and genuine exhaustion is not the same thing. And knowing the difference is really important so that you have the awareness and are creating opportunities for different choices. See, genuine rest is when you've been pushing, is needed when you've been pushing really hard, where like you're physically and mentally depleted, your sleep maybe has suffered, the balance has been skewed for a little while, right? Like you have been filling up the cup of like discipline and drive, and you've been determined and really going at it. And your other jars that you value, maybe connection, your fun jar, your spontaneity, those are all a bit empty. So when the balance is skewed, then there tends to be a level of physical and mental exhaustion. And that deserves to be honored. Because yes, there are going to be some seasons in your life, some weeks, months, where you tip the balance towards, those values of determination, of discipline and commitment, and working really hard and, stretching yourself. But then we've got to tilt the balance back because all our values deserve to be honored in order for us to feel full and to feel fulfilled. And so we've got to sort of remember to tip back and fill up the other jars a little bit with connection and love and the things that maybe we've been shorting ourselves as we've sacrificed for these other goals. And that's okay. But that's where we can start to recognize what's the difference, right? Like that makes sense. That deserves to be honored fully and without guilt. But, take the time. But resistance is different. Okay. It feels like exhaustion, but really it's avoidance. It shows up when you're about to do something that really matters. Something that maybe you feel called to do. When there's uncertainty, it shows up when you might find out if you're actually capable. Psychologists distinguish there's a difference between mental fatigue, which needs recovery, and emotional resistance. And here's what we're talking about. That's what we come up against so often, is this emotional resistance. And that needs action. Otherwise, it swallows us up. We check out, we disappear, and then we come back for air like, whoa, where did I just go? Right. I've known that feeling so many times where I get swept up in that and I disappear and I check out, I smoke weed, I run off, I disappear, and then I come back and I'm like, where did I just go? Truly. So this mental fatigue and this emotional resistance, even though they feel similar in the body, they require opposite responses. The tell is what's underneath. And here's where we've got to kind of sometimes put on a little bit of a detective hat and magnifying glass and be willing and courageous enough to turn inward and face ourselves and be honest with ourselves. Like, are you really tired from doing too much? Or are you afraid of what happens if you try and it doesn't work? And for the women listening, I think this is really important and is worth bringing up. Like, your cycle matters. Like, there are weeks when your body genuinely needs more rest. It needs more gentleness. It needs a little more space. And that is not weakness. That is biology. So we get to honor that. But knowing the difference between your body asking for rest and recovery and your mind looking for an escape, that's the crucial part. And I am speaking from a place of like, I've lived this. Like, I have let the resistance swallow me up, not just for a day, like to the point where I've given up before. I have given up, not once, more than once. And I hate to admit this, but I've definitely let that part of me win. Where, I remember even when COVID hit, I had started an online coaching business for fitness. I was helping women get fit, women who struggled with binge eating, and I'd created a program, and I had clients, and I knew that I could keep going because I was already from the start successful. And I was like, I could keep scaling and building this. But there was another part of me that just, I think that it got hard in a way that like it got a little uncomfortable, where I decided like, oh, I don't really love doing this part of the business. I don't really like this that much. I don't think I want to do this. And I decided that I was done. Oh, I don't really want to do the workout programming part of this. Like I don't want to do this. This isn't for me. I convinced myself this wasn't for me. And looking back on it, I think that the greater fear was the fact that I thought that I wasn't confident enough, and I wasn't willing to stick it out and struggle through cringy coaching calls, cringy course material I created. And even though when I look back now, I'm like, oh, I was doing a good job. In the moment, I thought it wasn't good enough. And I let that beat me. And I let that convince me that I wasn't cut out for that. And I did the same thing again with another business where I was doing purely mindset coaching. And I told myself, again, maybe this isn't the right thing. And maybe a part of that was true. But another part, like in the vehicle that in which I was trying to create the offer and the style and everything that I was doing, how I was going about the business, no, it wasn't right for me. And yeah, maybe there was a bit of that was true. But I think I've realized in looking back that the bigger part was that I would have rather quit than find out that I wasn't good enough or feel the pain of not being good enough. Ooh. I hate admitting that, I hate admitting that because I don't think that was a conscious choice. That was my conditioning running the show. And now I see that. So being able to put space between our reactions and our impulses is so important in recognizing our patterns, because sometimes we get close enough to see what's really required, something that's going to put us to the test, and we find reasons to stop. And that's what we're really up against. And that's what I was up against even this morning on the couch. Not tiredness, not luteal, like not lack of inspiration. Truly the deeper fear of, if I'm really going for it this time and I keep picking up momentum and I give it everything and it still doesn't work, then I'll have to face something that I don't want to face. That it won't be as valuable as I hope it is. That it won't be good enough. That it won't be as successful. That nobody really cares. And that's what escaping was all about. And that's why it's so important. I keep coming back to this. It's the power of choice. That we can be overpowered by resistance or we can be empowered by it. Every time you show up on a day that you don't feel like it, you cast a vote for the person, the version of you that you are striving to become. And that is so important because the opposite is true. Every time you don't and you give in and give up, you cast a vote for the story that you are someone who gives up when it gets hard and you're not capable. And that builds the belief that you can't trust yourself, that you are not worthy. And the vision really matters here. Not just as an inspiration, it matters as a tool. Like we get to use this and be very emotionally influenced by it, be emotionally anchored to it, like really seeing yourself, that version of you who has what you want and who is embodying the qualities of the person that you want to be. Like for me, it's being on that stage, the mic in my hand, mid-expression. It's me being on someone's podcast, being interviewed. It's saying something that really changes someone. And when I consider that, and when I see that, and I can feel that, it moves something in me. It moves something in me. Because that woman, she felt this too, this resistance. And she chose differently. She chose to struggle. She chose the discomfort. She chose to show up anyway. Showing up on the hard days is not just about discipline or hustle in the way that society gets at us, right? Like it's about integrity. It's you with you. It's between who you say you are and what you actually do. And when that comes together, like when what you say you're going to do and what you actually do is the same thing, that is how confidence is built. That is how momentum is created. That is where conviction stems from. This knowing that you can trust yourself and you back yourself up. Every time you follow through, you build a little bit more belief that you are capable. And every time you don't, you chip away at your own conviction. So which person do you want to be? Which version of you do you want to be? What builds on the other side of enough hard days where you have showed up anyway isn't just the results. It's not just about the tangible results. It's the unshakable knowing that you can do hard things. That when the resistance does come up again, because it will, it is human, that you have evidence that you move anyway. And that is a priceless commodity to have. Because without it, you stay stuck. You stay unfulfilled. You stay unhappy. But with it, you have trust. You have belief. You have momentum. You have confidence. And with that, I don't even know what you could create. The possibilities are endless. And it's not something anyone can just hand you. It's not someone could just give you. Like you build that yourself. One hard day at a time. And that's not something anyone can give you. Nobody can hand you that. That is something that you build yourself. You with you, one hard day at a time. And I want to be real with you. I'm always real with y'all. Like, I still kind of want to go and ride that bike and run off. The resistance didn't fully go away. And it didn't go away just because I started filming. Like, it's still there. But guess what? I'm still here. That doesn't own me. And I will not let it overpower me. I will be empowered by it, by recognizing it and still choosing me and my vision. And that's the whole point. You don't wait for the resistance to leave. You move anyway. Showing up for yourself when nobody's watching and nothing is forcing you to, that's the real test of whether you actually believe in what you're building and in yourself. Like, it's still a beautiful day. The park is still there. My bike is literally right there in the backyard. I could see it. And the fear that this won't be good enough, that you won't care, that who knows how many people are actually going to be listening to this, that even if they do, will it land? Like, all of that is still here too. But so am I, because I have quit before. And I know what that feels like. And I know what it costs. And this time, I actually want to find out what happens when I stay. So that made me teary. Yeah, so whatever you are sitting with today, whatever feels too hard or too uncertain or not inspired enough, I just want you to ask yourself one question. Okay. What would the version of you who already has what you want do right now? I bet she's not waiting to feel like it. She's already decided. You can too. Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If this episode hit home, spread the love. Maybe share it with a friend or drop a comment. I'd love to know what landed for you. And remember, your voice matters. Whatever you're holding back, say it anyway.